Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. What's going on, everybody? All right. So this is going to be hopefully my final talk on this person, Miss Paris Milan, for a little while, but most likely not, because this is what she do and this is how she makes her money. So this will not stop, of course. So I want to play a couple of clips for you guys, but let me play this. Let me play two first, and then I'll play the other two second. So once again, this is Miss Paris Milan um dancing on the grave of Terry Nichols and mocking black men while she does it, right? For the entertainment and the money of her subscribers. Now remember, this is a black woman supposedly married to a black Nigerian descent man, right? So we are going to listen to Miss um we are going to listen to Miss Paris Milan as she mocks black men, right? So let's play this first clip first, and y'all let me know if y'all can hear it. Hopefully you can, and make sure the volume is nice and up. All right, here you guys go. Because I really wanted to talk to the detractors. I wanted to speak to those who know about Tyree's tweets but who don't care and still support him regardless. That's who I want to talk to. Because the response that I've been getting so much has been nothing but rage. Like, even right now, as I'm on live, there's an acre that's in my inbox that's so upset. Let me actually read this to y'all, because they've been wishing so much bad on me. They've been hoping that I lose my life. Yes, you heard right, people. You heard right. Paris Milan, a black woman, supposedly married to a black man, calling black men nakers. Now, nakers is divestor, black women who chase after white men and non-black men for validation. Um, this is their way of calling black men the N word with the hard ER. So naker is their slang word for calling black men NIGGER double exclamation points. So yes, you heard right. Miss Paris Milan is engaging in full-on divestor talk, right? Even though she herself is married to a black man. Now, yes, he is Nigerian descent, or he's Nigerian, but yes, this is a supposed ADOS woman, FBA woman, who's calling black men nakers. Now, if you guys remember, the word naker was first heard by a white female journalist or white woman who was speaking about the Lakers and called them nakers, right? And we know what that means. And so divestors, because their god is white women, they wish they were white women. That's why they insult black men about what black men haven't built, haven't done, haven't accomplished, haven't conquered, haven't pillaged, haven't raped. Black women divestors adopted the word nakers as an insult to black men. And this is once again their way of calling black men the hard NIGGER double exclamation points, right? And we're going to play this second clip and then we're going to get on our way. All right. Let me know if you guys can hear this. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Your feelings are so hurt. And see, this is the stuff that we have to deal with on our pages. And what's crazy to me is having to deal with this crap on our pages, and yet we mainly get pushback from some of these hater black women on YouTube. Granted, I'm not talking about the Milanos. I'm not talking about y'all, but I'm talking about what applies to all the flack that I get. I'm sure other content creators get, the threats, the harassment, the wishing bad, and all that. And for anybody to fix their mouth and say that we don't do enough, or we haven't done this right, or try to hyper criticize us is just disgusting. But I get animals like that in my inbox on the regular. But yet y'all, you keep on giving them everything and they resent you for it. Yep, y'all heard right. So she dances on the fact that black people, black men in specific, have feelings, and our feelings are hurt by watching black people, namely black women like this, dance on Terry Nichols' grave. So she mocks the black men whose feelings are hurt about this. She mocks them about that, number one. So once again, dancing on Terry Nichols' grave and mocking the people that feel a certain way about her dancing on Terry Nichols' grave. Excuse me. Um, and she mocks them, right? Number one. Number two, she calls black men animals. Now we're getting into very dangerous, dangerous territory. Now, there are some who are not part of the black manosphere who levy to Mr. Z, yours truly, and to others that we hyper focus on the divestors. We hyper focus on women like Paris Milan. They ignore that Paris Milan has some 300 plus thousand subscribers. She's creeping on 350,000 subscribers. They forget that Paris Milan's audience is mainly women around her age and younger. So we're talking about 35 years old and younger. This woman has the ears of many women and young women. And she is engaging in this level of neo-Nazi rhetoric about black men. So remember, she starts off by saying, you give these men everything. Black people don't really got that much money to give to other black people, so I don't know what she's talking about. Once again, she mocks black men and other black people whose feelings are hurt for watching black women dance on this man's grave, Mr. Nichols. And she she calls black men animals. Now, when you start to dehumanize black people, first of all, when you start to dehumanize people in general, this is, once again, the Jews in Nazi Germany can tell you about when others start using this type of language towards other people, right? This is where we are, right? And let me see if I can hurry up and play the next clip for you guys. But once again, this is Miss Paris Milan mocking excuse me, mocking black men, dancing on the grave of black men, right? So for those of you that remember, this is what Miss Paris Milan thinks is funny, right? This is what her subscribers tune in for, right? And let's see if we can play this next clip. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear it. Here we go.
Your feelings are so hurt.
Oh, we played that already. We played that already. Okay, let me see. Let's go to another clip. Wait a minute. Let's see if you guys can hear this.
You keep on giving them everything and they resent you for it. Think you can't, or anyone knows that these black men have co-opted to protect black women? They're saying protect black men. What man asked us to protect and right? I have never heard of anybody saying with any other group of men, protect white men, protect Asian men, protect non-black Hispanic men. No, you're the only group of men that's crying how you're not respected and nobody submits to you, and you got these loud, foul-mouthed women, but you're the only one out here crying every day begging for protection. It don't add up.
So hopefully you guys were able to hear that. If not, you guys are going to have to give me a minute before I can play it again. So Paris Milan, as whimsically ignorant as she is, with all the gusto in the world, you see a trend here? She speaks about other men not being protected or not asking for protection and not asking for respect. First, have you ever heard of the white manosphere? You know it predates the black manosphere. Number one, it's larger than the black manosphere. Number two, the Asian manosphere. There's a whole lot of complaining going on over there. Not protecting men. You mean how the Chinese government is saying, oh, we got to do something about these boys? You mean how Richard Reeves saying, oh, we got to do something about these boys and these men? Oh, see, Miss Milan, when you don't know what you're talking about, but you're hyper focused, talking about hyper focused, you're hyper focused on insulting black men, you end up sounding like you. a dunce, an ignorant one, but very sassy and apparently very rich. Shout out to all of you everyday average black women who are going to continue to listen to Paris Milan as she walks out the back door with all the money y'all sent her. But okay. So once again, Miss Milan calls. Oh yeah, and she used. I didn't record that part. She used the term "kangs" in the derogatory way that white racist people use it, right? And she said, "These are your kangs," right? Now, for those of you that don't understand, kangs is how white racist people mock black people when black people say we were kings, right? We were kings in Africa, right? And this is black people attempting to find some type of humanity, some type of prestige in their history, instead of thinking of themselves as just property of white people, starting in the beginning of time. And so what you have now is these divestor and divestor adjacent type women, such as Paris Milan, who are now mocking black men and calling black men kings the way white racists do it to mock black people. Once again, for all of you, why does Mr. Z keep on focusing on divestors and swirlers? This is those women. This is one of their patron saints, Miss Paris Milan, who's a vile person who thinks because she doesn't use profanity that somehow that makes her better than everyone else. Meanwhile, she uses rhetoric like this. This is one of those super hypocrites who spews out toxic sludge, but thinks because she doesn't use profanity. By the way, she still uses the first letter of the word, but because she doesn't say the actual word, she thinks she's better. She thinks she's doing something um civil, I guess, right? And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. So, once again, this is a woman who thinks it's okay to mock the death, right? And I keep on saying Terry Nichols, my apologies, Tahir, right? Mocking the death. I said Tahir again. Tyree, Jesus Christ, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm thinking about a bunch of Tyree Nichols, right? Tyree. So she's mocking the death of Tyree. She is insulting black men and other black people. Her show that I got this recording from was essentially a smoke show. And there were black women, and thank you to those black women, who called in to essentially talk to Paris and say what she's doing is wrong. And she insulted them and mocked them and pushed them off the phone. Right? Insulted them, mocked them, and pushed them off the phone. Because Paris does not care about the black body. What Paris cares about, being a chocolate dipped white hyper capitalist racist, what Paris cares about is her money. And she will earn a lot off of the rage porn content that she creates for her subscribers. Right? Now, what Mr. Z wanted to come to you, loneliness and social media is a combustible mix, and how it encourages this type of language. But I couldn't come to you with that today because Ms. Paris Milan put out another rage porn for her subscribers. Once again, this young lady has hundreds of thousands of subscribers. She is well known in the black woman empowerment side of YouTube. She is young. She is influential. And yet, black men are told to ignore people like this. Thank you, Boyce Watkins. Thank you, Boyce Watkins, for bringing us Cynthia G and Paris Milan. Thank you. We have a young lady about 30 years old, 29, 30 years old, out here dancing on dead black men's graves for fun and entertainment and money. And this is what is seen once again as entertainment and the black woman's sphere. And of course, she traffics in the victim talk of I'm doing this because I'm responding to black men who thought it was funny, right? To what happened to Lawrence Smithfield or Asia Maynard, right? So of course she traffics in the I'm doing it because they're doing it. Of course she is. Of course she is. Because black women never, ever, ever, ever initiate negativity. No, they don't. Black women never, ever, ever initiate anything negative. They never initiate anything mean, right? They don't instigate any violence. They don't initiate any violence. There are plenty of domestic abuse reports that say otherwise, right? But according to Miss Paris Milan, black women like her, such as herself, are just responding to black men. And excuse my background, I know I am cutting out right now. I'm gonna give it a second, right? But once again, black women such as Miss Paris Milan are only responding to black men, right? And this is okay. Black men are told to ignore this. It's not that serious. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. Yeah. This is a 30-year-old. She potentially will be with us for 50 years. 40, 50 years possibly. Speaking like this on social media about black men. Dancing on black men's graves and justifying it, or attempting to, at least. She has the ears of this young lady has the ears of teenagers. Who needs the white racists? You know, I'm a bit at a loss for words. You would think this becomes normal, and to a certain extent, yes. But to hear her say, "Oh, your feelings," about a dead black man, about black people being appalled, not just black men. This one, it was some black women also being appalled at watching a young black woman dance on a black man's grave like this. And as Mr. Z has always said, all women, particularly black women, have to do to attempt to get away with whatever foul things they do or say is always say a man did it first. I'm only responding to a man. And of course, Miss Paris engaged in that. So now Miss Paris is saying she doesn't have any agency, no self-control. She can't help herself but to mock Tyree's death and then mock black people, black men, black women. Once again, her show last night was a smoke show. Why do you have an issue with me just reporting the news? Also, why do you have an issue with me dancing on his grave? Why do you have an issue with me mocking him? Why do you have an issue with me insulting him and Obi and Stephen Clark? Why do you have an issue with me? Black men and black women. Now, Miss Paris must have heard what Mr. Z said, because she attempts to mock Mr. Z by saying, oh, these people are claiming I'm an agent, claiming I'm FBI, claiming I'm CIA, claiming I work for the Pentagon. Oh, no, you are definitely engaging in agent-like behavior. Oh, yes, you definitely are. And yeah, Mr. Z wouldn't be surprised if you are an agent. For those of you who have never watched the documentary Mississippi Spies or the PBS documentary about the Black Panthers or any of that, yeah, Paris Milan could very well be an agent. Yes, Mr. Z is saying it. So you can mock it all you want. That's exactly what an agent would do, actually. All right? Actually, that's exactly what an agent would do. You already told us you all about the money. So, yeah, what you're engaging in is agent like behavior. So, yeah, Mr. Z stands on what he said, right? And I want to say this, and I know there's a oh, Mr. Z is going all the way in SBE today. Um, for all of you everyday black women who subscribe to the Chrissies and the Real Talk with Yannies and the Paris Milans, understand Mr. Z knows the numbers. I know how much money y'all make on average. I know how many of y'all live with your parents on average. Yeah, I know how much you got in savings on average. I know how much you're struggling on average. Paris Milan don't got nothing for you but to diddle your little pride and ego while you struggle. Oh, and I know how many of y'all are single on average. Right? So Paris Milan, because many of you are lonely. Oh yeah, yeah, that part too. Because of how lonely you are, and you found this little echo chamber, this space on YouTube, on social media, once again to diddle your little ego, your little pride. Paris Milan don't got answers for you. What, divest? Open up your options, mocking black men, saying how essentially how weak black men are, and no other men are asking for protection, while the white manosphere yells from the mountaintops about being single and lonely, and their boys dropping out of school, and their boys not going to, and their boys and young men not going to college, etc., etc. Oops. Once again, Paris Milan doesn't know what she's talking about. You meanwhile, the Chinese government looks in ways to harden up their men. You meanwhile, many Eastern European governments look at ways to encourage their men and their women to have children and get it on and actually bolster their men. You mean as some of the Northern European countries try to keep their men in the country and try to keep their men from not being passport bros? Once again, Paris Milan doesn't know what she's talking about. You do see other people asking for respect. What? Asian men have entered the chat. You don't see other people asking to be, other men asking to be protected. Asian men, white men, Latino men have entered the chat. Oh, you mean those one or two white guys y'all dragged onto y'all shows to talk crap about black men? You mean the destinies which none of y'all would touch with a 10-foot pole? Maybe a handful of y'all sisters would give him the vagina. Because he's white. Right? Huh. So once again, mocking the death of black men, you know. And what makes Paris Milan very interesting, once again, married to a black man. Like I said before, shout out to that black man. You think you can be married to a person that creates content like this and mocks and insults black men, and it's gonna be, and that doesn't have an effect on you? Okay, then I guess. If you think you can be in a relationship with a person, with a woman, who think it is okay to dance on the grave of other black men, how long before she's dancing in divorce court after she takes you for whatever you have? Hmm? How long? How long before she turns that energy off on you? How long? Y'all give me a second. Right. So Mr. Z is back. Yeah. So once again, rest in peace to the brother. The rest of us in the black community, that includes most black women, from my understanding, from what Mr. Z is seeing, do not approve this message. But you got divestors that get off on this because their intimate relationships aren't that great with black men. They're not the preferred choice, and so they want to patronize channels and follow channels like Miss Paris Milan to mock black men, to insult black men, right? To justify why they shouldn't advocate for black men, translation, other black people, because they don't see black men and their black bodies as important because black men are black men. So they really think that the state sees a difference between women. That's a recent phenomenon, by the way. Black people were just black people. You were just minority, right? But Miss Paris doesn't care about that. Miss Paris doesn't really care about history outside of how long her face is. What she cares about is those YouTube checks and the rage porn content that she creates for her subscribers, right? Mocking Tyree's Black death, right? And let's see if we can actually play the other clip. There was a clip that is not playing. Let's see if we can play that last clip. Give Mr. Z a second. Wait a minute. Which one was it? Okay, yeah. Give me 1 second. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right. Yeah. So anyway, it's not playing. Okay. But yeah, so talking about your feelings are hurt, calling black men animals, right? Calling black men nakers, right? Calling black men kings as a mocking terminology or mocking word, right? So clowning black men and other black women who support black men and couching it as get back, essentially, right? And this goes back to something I've said before, if all black women ever have to do is point at some random tweet or some random comment and say, I can say this vile, disgusting thing because look, some random black man said something unsavory before. Is that all it takes? Is all they have to do is couch their rhetoric in victimhood, right? In victimhood. If all they have to do is that, then you can understand how we got to where we are. This goes back to black feminist tropes coming out of the 1960s, where all you had to do was paint black men as some vile, disgusting monsters, like Miss Pierce Malone said, like animals, and white feminists in the state will flick crumbs off the table for you. All you have to do is sell back to white people what they already say and think about black people, black men specifically. And you have a long list of black people who engage in that. I will just sell back to white people what they want to hear, the narrative that they want to hear about black people writ large, black men specifically. Right? Train tracks, train tracks, train tracks. And I will watch as they pay me for it, as they patronize me, as they clap it up for me. I will bask in all the accolades and all the adulation. And Miss Paris Milan is engaging in that in the 21st century as we speak. Right? So, to all of the talking heads and the black bread tube space, all you black lefties, all you black communists, all you black Marxists, all you black people that want to talk about, all of you black people that want to talk about community all the time. When do y'all address the Paris Milans of the world? When are you going to address them? Right? Right? When are you going to address them? All the pro-blacks in the different spaces. When are you going to address the Paris Milans, the Chrissies, the Real Talk with Yannies? Huh? Paris Milan, who told you Kamala chose better, Eve chose better, Kentaji chose better, Serena chose better. Black women with white husbands. Where are you pro-blacks? Hmm? Where are you for Paris Milan? Nowhere to be found. Talk about hyper focus, Miss Milan. Y'all hyper focus on black men, and y'all been doing that for decades, and just let the Paris Milans of the world just run amok to the point 50 years later, they sound like this. Because you keep on ignoring them, Mr. FD signifier. Because that ideological side that you're on continues to ignore women like this. Now, granted, to give, FD signifier some space, he did say, yeah, we might have let this get a little too far. Right? We might have let this, and excuse my language, we might have let the black men ain't ish rhetoric get a little too far. A little too far? Dancing on a black man's grave a little too far? No, it's not a little too far. Right? A little too far. And so, yes, the algorithm. Yes. Yes, lonely people. And I'm going to make some content about that also. Yes, lonely people, right? Lonely people, people that feel isolated. Once again, y'all know Mr. Z said we're living in an increasingly atomized society. So lonely people are engaging in a lot of this online. They find their group online, right? They find their people online on social media, and then they huddle around each other, and this is what you get oftentimes. And once again, black women are not immune to that. We see that across the board. Black men are not immune to that. You can argue the black manosphere is that space. That's what they would argue, right? The social scientists. White folks are definitely not immune to that. That's where you get some of the racist spaces, right? But once again, black women aren't immune to that, and that's what they're engaging in right now. Right? Oh yeah. Shout out. Yes, Detroit, Vicky Dillard is quiet. Of course she's quiet because her mentor is who bought Paris Milan in this space. We know about Vicky Dillard because of Boyce Watkins. We know about Paris Milan because of Boyce Watkins. We know about Cynthia G because of Boyce Watkins. So of course she's quiet. Because then eventually in the conversation, we're going to have to get to who bought her here. So of course Vicky Dillard is going to not mention Paris, because eventually in the conversation she's going to have to give Paris Milan's origin story. Whoops. She's going to have to speak about Paris Milan's contemporaries, which would include Cynthia G. And then we're going to have to speak about how did Cynthia G get here. Whoops. Right? These people do not want to engage in that. So the reason why Mr. Z covers people like this and the things that they say is so we can know how we got to where we are in the Black community, not only perpetrated by Black men. Everyone wants to, well, if you would build Wakanda, well, if you would stop being misogynistic and patriarchal, right? Well, if you would be Superman and super dad and super husband, right? Translate, if you would be perfect Black man, right? What do some of the others say? Well, if the collective of Black men would be so insanely wealthy, insanely rich, then Black women wouldn't have a choice but to be down with your program. Right? Ain't that right, Jason Black? If Black men as a group were so insanely wealthy and controlled all of the infrastructure and were just everywhere, Black women would burn that thing to the ground. Black women like Paris Milan? Right? The lady had to be checked by white people about throwing the Ukrainian war and the Ukrainian soldiers in Black men's faces. That's the woman we're talking about. We're talking about a woman that literally last night came out her mouth. You don't see these other men asking for respect? What? You don't see these other men asking for protection? You don't even know what you're saying. These other men are not talking about how rude and loud their women are. That's literally what white men are saying right now. That's literally what they're saying right now. Right? And Spainman said, Mr. Z, you see BGS's short featuring Cicely Tyson? No, I have not. I will check it out after this stream. And thank you for letting me know about that. Right? And Detroit says, Mr. Z, I had contacted them on Instagram and not one has responded back to me on what's going with these divestors. They won't. They won't. These are their daughters. They're going to continue to ignore them. They're going to continue to ignore them. The best you'll get is the absolute softest tap on the wrist ever. That's what FD wants to do. That's the best you will get. The softest tap on the wrist ever in human history. Right? Let me leave your comment up for a little bit. That's the best you'll get, if even that. But once again, the best you'll get is that. Right? What is it going to take for you to drop the misogyny? You think it's misogynistic to address this, Mr. FD signifier? This black woman is supposedly married to a Black man. She herself isn't a divestor. She advocates for them. She uses their rhetoric. She's functionally a divestor, but she advocates for them. She uses their rhetoric, and she has a huge channel. 340,000 subscribers. Speaking about black men like this, mocking black men's death and mocking the black women and insulting the black women that feel a certain way about her and her subscribers, mocking the death of black men. And she attempts to justify it, by the way. Right? And if you want to know why there's a SYSBM, Save Yourself Black Man. If you want to know why there's a Passport Bros, this is why. Because black men are told to ignore this, endure this, deal with it. Somehow, some way, it's kind of your fault, black man. And excuse me, y'all, I'm gonna pause for a second. My background. And we're back, right? Paramedic was passing by. This is the insanity that passes for black women empowerment, being the voice for black women, being a space for black women, right? This Khadijah, have you even considered ever speaking about this? Of course you haven't. Kim from Fort Harriet, have you ever considered speaking about this? Of course you haven't. The only two people that really made a shot at this in any way worth acknowledging has been Julesy and Nappy Headed Ahoba. T Noir put a little section about black women in luxury or something like that. A little section in a video. And a video essay she made. Other than that, where the rest of you? Because this is not just divesting. This is bigger than divesting. This is not just divestors. This is not no 15,000, 30,000 subscriber channel. Right? And Detroit says, I wonder if I can contact Jason Whitlock about these divestors. Maybe. Right? I have my issues with Jason Whitlock, but maybe. Right? Because this is ridiculous. If the black bread tube and the black left and the pro blacks and all in between, right? If they're not going to address this and they're going to leave it to the black conservatives, you know where the black conservatives are going to go with it. Oh well, y'all didn't address it. So when Jason Whitlock makes this a black mom thing, don't say anything because y'all refuse to address it. What FD did is a segment in one of his videos about the black manosphere where he talks about divestors, and he still kind of give them some space. And he didn't mention the big dogs like Chrissy, Paris Milan, and Yanni, right? He didn't even mention Mahogany Pink. But her channel isn't doing numbers, but she doesn't put out content regularly. Huh. So we drop patriarchy tomorrow. Black men become the super egalitarian patriarchal figures. And what are they supposed to do with the Paris Milan acolytes? And I'm going to read that comment too. Kareem, give me a second. Let me read KW Don's comment. And KW Don says, successful ladies live, correction, unsuccessful ladies live in alleged homeless, I think you mean homelessness, who is she going to blame? Black men? She's been divested for years. I mean, it's always black men's fault, right? It's always black men's fault, which is what black women say, right? It's always our fault. Everything is our fault. Does the dominant society say that? No. Okay, then. Does the black community even say that in majority? No. You're projecting. Stop it. You think that, but people don't say that. Who says that? The pro blacks? No. The black lefties? No. The black conservatives? No. So who says it? Who says it's all black women's fault? We're not talking about the conservatives. No. The black conservatives still blame black men. The black lefties still blame black men. The pro blacks still blame black men. So who's saying it's black women's fault? A couple of Negroes on YouTube, on social media, right? And Karine says hate speech. It is hate speech. That's my point. Thank you, Karine, for the comment. It is hate speech, right? And y'all excuse my background. Sirens going off. I'm kind of on a major road right now. Give me a second, everyone. Yeah, and we're back. So, if you want to know why black men are going SYSBM, like I said before, why black men are passport bros, why men in America in general, including some black men, some black boys, are going monk mode in their teenage years, in their early 20s, when the wind blows the wrong way, you get an erection, and yet they're sitting their penis down and saying, "Yep, I'd rather not." You want to know why your sons rather stay at home, play video games, and masturbate? I would like to direct you to Paris Milan and her subscribers, Real Talk with Yanni and her subscribers, Chrissy and her subscribers, and all the smaller channels. Right? Yes, black men did not dance on the grave of the girl who got killed in Mexico either. Brothers are mature. Yeah, Shanquilla, right? Robinson, black men didn't dance on a grave. Now we use it as a cautionary tale. We said, where you see the black men at? Who did this to her? Black women. But black women, such as Paris Milan, the Paris Milans of the world, are going to go and look for the one wayward black man on Twitter that said something to be like, yes, y'all did, look. Right? And yes, Detroit, most definitely hate speech. This is hate speech. Once again, black people are bought up in an anti-black society like everyone else in America is. Right? Black people are bought up in that system. So are black women. And what this society and what the black community refuses to grapple with, refuses to, is what does anti-blackness look like coming out of the mouth of black women, and not just extreme divestors either. What does anti-blackness, classism, elitism, misandry, what does it look like and sound like for that to come out the mouth of black women? Because Miss Paris Milan is an elitist asshole, and she is a misandrist, and she's rhetorically and pretty much functionally a divestor. She is anti-black. What? Because she's anti-black man, which is half the black community. It's okay. And even anti-black women that stand up for black men, so that makes it more than half the black community. And thank you, Detroit. Jalen Rose donated to her funeral. So I think you're talking about Shanquella Robinson. But yet black men don't care about black women, right? Black men are complaining about not being respected or being disrespected and not being protected. Meanwhile, the Chinese government is speaking about their boys and their men. Trying to keep K-pop out of their country for multiple reasons, one of which being the softer, more androgynous looking young men in K-pop music. Right? And Charles Irby said Kyrie Irving have 20K for so gave 20K to the family, and the fundraiser raised over 100K. Thanks once again, Charles Irby. But yet black men don't care about black women. This is a black woman who died at the hands of another black woman, of black women. And from my understanding, questionable, maybe a black man, but a questionable lifestyle black man, or at least he was watching. And the black community ignored that part of the conversation, right? Just like they ignore Paris Milan and ignore Chrissy. Chrissy came in the door talking about colorism, and then she told y'all, well, y'all not really patronizing that too much, even though I was speaking real Nazi like. So let me talk about black women in luxury. And now let me talk about divesting and swirling. And now let me chastise y'all about not actually divesting and talking about it and not being about it. Yeah. And now let me talk to y'all about lifestyle stuff and women who married up, just just trying to claw every penny off of content. Right? Don't forget who bought y'all the femicide talk, Miss Paris Milan, or at least who elevated the black femicide talk. Chasing after every story. Half of them stories were BS. Young lady kidnapped. Oh, it was her dad. She wasn't kidnapped. Young lady felt like somebody was walking too close to her. Oh, wait a minute. It was some dude that was randomly passing by. Young lady felt like, oh, wait, she was lying for attention. Huh. Don't forget who elevated the femicide talk. Never been to Mexico. Never been to Eastern Europe. Never been to the Middle East. Right? But talking about femicide. Black femicide. Don't know where Honduras is if you gave them a map to point it out. But talking about black female, talking about femicide. Black women femicide, but talking about femicide in general. Huh. Every 5.5 hours. Alexa, who initiates most of the domestic violence interactions between black men and black women? Oops. What's among the most common domestic violent rate? Oh, wait a minute. Is it lesbians? Ooh, is it black women fighting black women? Yeah. As Mr. Z said, out of touch, ignorant, asshole, sassy, hypercapitalist, chocolate dip black woman. Paris Milan. This is the person that thought it was funny to attempt to mock and insult black men with white soldiers in Ukraine being forced to fight the Russian soldiers, right? the Russian military. And white people had to check her and tell her she don't know what she's talking about, including white Ukrainians. But hey, that's what happened when you think it's okay to insult and mock black men outside of the black community. See, even other people will be like, what are you talking about? When you try to compare, and what somebody in the comments for that was like, wait, oh, this is where black women go to make fun of black men? Paris Malone, how, yeah, you could take this outside of the black community to a certain extent. How big do you think this rhetoric could get before people are disgusted by it? Well, I'm only doing it because black men. Y'all already threw all of y'all cards out there against black men. That it don't stick no more. That's the problem. Paris Malone, Chrissy, and the like, Crystalline Karazin and the like, really want to. Why isn't what we're doing and saying about black men not sticking so much outside of the black community? Yeah, it's heinous and it's egregious, but why isn't it? Because your ideological elders, your predecessors did all of that over the past 50, 60 years. It's run its course. Y'all already spoke about black men chasing after white women and putting white women on a pedestal. Y'all already spoke about DV in the black community and how black men perpetrate it. Y'all already spoke about black men secretly having sex with other men, right? DL activity. Y'all already spoke about, y'all already did that over the past 50 years. Abandoning their children, abandoning their women, being colorist, being horrible fathers and husbands, right? Huh. And then the ignoramuses, such as Real Talk with Yanni, speaks about passport cis like it's a thing. Nah, y'all could go overseas and have some bedroom fun with these men and pay like you weigh and do the passport thing with them. But once again, as we said multiple times, you think you're going to marry outside of maybe 25, maybe at most 30 countries, you're going to marry men outside of America? You're not. They don't have enough money. Outside of about 30 countries on this planet, they don't have enough money to maintain your fantasies, your delusions. Right? And on that note, I'm about to close out. You know, this is unfortunate, everyone. This is a black woman married to a black man. And let me play a couple of the clips again for you guys so y'all can hear it for those of you that came in recently and you did not hear. So here we go. Here's the first clip.
Video that I did about this that I wanted to do a part two because I really wanted to talk to the detractors. I wanted to speak to those who know about Tyree's tweets but don't care and still support him regardless. That's who I want to talk to. Because the response that I've been getting so much has been nothing but rage. Like, even right now, I'm on live. There's an anchor that's in my inbox that's so upset. Let me actually read this to y'all. Because they've been wishing so much bad on me. They've been hoping that I lose my life.
Yep. Once again, that's Paris Malone calling black men nakers. For those of you that heard me earlier, that is black women speak. That is divestor speak for the N word with the hard ER at the end. Right? So that's Paris Malone engaging in that. All right, let's play this next clip. Okay, so that didn't go through. Let's play this next one.
Your feelings are so hurt. And see, this is the stuff that we have to deal with on our pages. And what's crazy to me is having to deal with this crap on our pages, and yet we mainly get pushback from some of these hater black women on YouTube. Granted, I'm not talking about the Milanos. I'm not talking about y'all, but I'm talking about what applies TikToks on the regular, but yet
So, so
everything and they resent you for it. Thank you, Kendra. Anyone knows that these black men have co-opted protect black women? They're saying protect black men. What man asked us to protect them, right? I have never heard of anybody saying with any other group of men, protect white men, protect Asian men, protect non-black Hispanic men. No, you're the only group of men that's crying how you're not respected and nobody submits to you, and you got these loud, foul-mouthed women, but you're the only one out here crying every day begging for protection. It don't add up.
yep, yep, right. Calling you animals, black men calling you animals. This is a black woman calling black men animals. This is a black woman who's so ignorant she doesn't know that there's a white manosphere, or she doesn't care, or she's insulting her subscribers' intelligence by speaking about black men like they exist in a vacuum, right? You don't see these other men complaining about not being respected. What? Asian men? Latino men? White men? What, is there not a white manosphere? Are there not Asian men complaining about not being respected by Asian women? What? Are there not Latino INCELSs? There's a reason why I never say that word, by the way. What about the race cells that speak about, once again, white men being the standard? What are you talking about? You don't know what you're saying, or you do know what you're saying, and you're saying it anyway because you don't actually care to inform your subscribers. You care to give them rage porn content to consume so you could get those rage porn clicks and likes and shares and money. Right? And when you speak about protect black men and how black men are somehow trying to co-opt protect black women, once again, governments around the world, social movements around the world for men and boys, you just don't know what you're talking about, right? Thank you. Mo Weems, she's not aware of the Fung Brothers on YouTube. And she might not be aware of Just Kidding News. She might be. Just Kidding News just did a video on Asian men who they say are complaining about, Asian women dating outside their race and how difficult it is for Asian men, everyday Asian men, to pull women, particularly Asian women. Really, particularly white women, but Asian women, right? And thank you. Shout out to the Roger Report. And the Roger Report says she's not going to acknowledge anything that will negatively affect Zaddy. Of course, of course, of course. Meanwhile, she's supposedly married to a Nigerian. Once again, to whoever you are, wherever you are, have fun. There's no way this ends peacefully. I'll say that. Amicably. You married a woman that does this all day. Hmm. And Detroit says, yeah, she's misinformed. She could be misinformed about other things. And other things, even if she's not, like the Roger Report says, she's not going to do anything that interrupts Zaddy and his mission. And she's not going to do anything that flies in the face of something she said 5 minutes ago. She's not going to speak about what's going on in the world and how many times, just to get at black men, she said something wrong or inaccurate. She's never going to do that. Right? These people are the worst. And Paris Milan is a genuine bad actor. Period. This is a person who has already told you she about her money, right? This is somebody that already told you she is about her money. That's Paris Milan and that's Chrissy that told you, hey, screw all of that other stuff. And they will sell other black women rage porn. Remember, Paris Milan is 29, 30 years old. She is married with no children. She's earning probably a couple $100,000 a year off of YouTube. Her husband works somewhere in corporate America or somewhere in finance or in STEM. Paris Milan will be fine. And while she's fine, she will continue to produce this type of content for her subscribers who are 35 years old, living at home with their parents, barely making any money. 29 years old, living at home with their parents, up to their eyeballs in student loan debt, no man, don't know what they're going to do with their life. 19 years old, working menial jobs, making no money, has no prospects, and no man. 15 years old, insecure, unhappy with her young juvenile dating prospects, and is enraged at a lot of the men around her, young men around her, not just the black men, but got a special place of hatred for the young black men around her because they're not interested either. Right? And so Paris Milan creates content for those people. And those people will continue to age, and their lives will not be that great, and they will fund Paris Milan to have a great life. And TJ Hanna says, Mr. Z, great breakdown on what really is happening on the ground. Sisters get to get a gig and gym membership, try to make you jump through hoops. Heck no. Of course, right? And that's where you get the real talk with Yannies, right? That's where real talk with Yanni enters the chat. With the don't ever settle, don't ever real. And I couldn't find the clip, and I'm beating myself up. I'm gonna search for it again, but it looks like it was about a 20-minute long video that she made. And in the video, she touches on, funny pun, she touches on being celibate, and you can see the way she says it. She's practicing celibacy, according to her, and she don't look too happy about it. That's unfortunate. And what did Mr. Z tell y'all? I came in the door. Shout out to the Roger Report. He might remember me saying that. A lot of these women, they do whatever they want to do with whatever man they want to do it with up until about 27, 28 years old, 29 years old. Then all of a sudden they celibate for 3, 4 years, 2, 3, 4 years. Right? And that's really them throwing a temper tantrum. That's what that is. God, I can't have the type of man I really find attractive and I want. Fine, I'm shutting everything down. And that's okay. That's their prerogative. That's actually not a bad thing. The reason why they're doing it, on the other hand, no, it wasn't that long ago. This video is maybe like a month old, if even. I am Wolf says, was that video long ago? Wait a minute, I am Wolf. So you trying to tell me she got another video speaking about this? Oh, so it's really a thing for her. Right? And that's unfortunate. I applaud her for her efforts, right? Shutting things down, reevaluating, there's nothing wrong with that. Trying to get your mind right, nothing wrong with that. Why you're doing it and then what you look like on the other side, now that's a different question. If you literally come out on the other side pretty much the same person, if not worse, then what was the point? Right? And on that note, we'll end it on out right here. Right? Love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll pause right here. Like I said, y'all watch out. Y'all be careful for the real talk with Yannies of the world, for the Paris Milans of the world, for the Chrissies of the world, but Paris in particular, an elitist asshole. Sassy, rude, foul, disgusting, but thinks because she doesn't use profanity somehow she's not. Right? This is a very vile person. And I truly was planning on coming to y'all to talk about something other than these women today. But last night, and like I said, I'm not letting Paris Milan get away with this. God damn, Big Kev. If Big Kev says you're gonna do a panel, Big Kev, that might have to wait. That might have to wait, right? Can't do it tonight with double duty, right? You might have to wait a day or two. You know what? Might be able to do one Thursday afternoon. Let's see how Thursday afternoon goes. I might be able to do one Thursday afternoon, right? Maybe. Oh crap! I'm gonna need to guess. No, yeah, I might be able to do one Thursday afternoon. Yeah, right. And let's leave that up for a little bit. So on that note, everyone, what's going on? Better you. Um, check the video on the replay. Um, love, peace, and chicken grease. I will pause right there. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Black Manosphere content, so you don't sound like Paris Milan and her subscribers, right? So you don't. Well, nobody else is talking. No other man is talking about being disrespected. Are you serious? Right? Don't you see black men trying to co-op protect black men, black women? Excuse me. Black men are trying to co-op protect black women. Talking about protect black men. Yeah, from the hands of the state. You're weird. You don't know what you're talking about, right? This is a clown, and y'all making this clown rich, and she's gonna live her best life. She's going to live her best life off of y'all support, while you live extra regular at best and not struggle. You might be struggling at worst and be extra regular at best, but y'all are supporting a person who's making money off of your loneliness and your sadness. All right. And on that note, Mr. Z out. Love, peace, and chicken grease. And I will pause right there. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day.